shower window or the inside of your office window or wherever you can put it. So take some of these and maybe take some extra for your colleagues if you want. Yeah, I'm kind of just what Nancy was saying, but one thing I wanted to say is that because we work in higher education and we're also intellectual, we sometimes think that by making a really good argument, we can win over these people who are in power. But power doesn't concede anything without a push from the majority. So while it might seem like, oh yeah, duh, common sense, we can just, ask them for the healthcare benefits that are going to get reimbursed by the state, and it makes sense, so they'll do it. That's just not necessarily true. They're protecting their capital, let's be honest, and it's not really about how smart we sound or how logical our arguments are. It really is about people power and how many people we can get on board with our cause. We need to show them that even though we're not at the period of this process where we would strike, because we're still in negotiations, we need to show them that we're ready to. And in order to strike, all of us need to work together. So this is all about power building, connecting with your colleagues, connecting with your students. Don't use instructional time to push a political agenda, but you can have that conversation with your students, especially if they see your pin, they see your shirt, they see your sweatshirt, and they come and talk to you. And yeah, to be clear, we're not at the point in this process where we would strike, and we're not allowed to strike at this point because we still have to go to impasse and all these other things. So I'm not saying, we're striking. I just think we need to show we have the power to do so. And that's my personal opinion. That's not representing the entire HCFA union. That's my personal opinion. Whoever divides, let me know. Good night.
That I agree with.
Hello, my name is Jaime. I'm here supporting my faculty. You guys are in the forefront. You guys are changing lives. You guys are helping us be the future leaders of tomorrow. What am I going to do without my communications professor? What am I going to do without my algebra teacher? What am I going to do without my health instructor fitness? They're teaching me how to get in shape. You guys matter. Let your voices be heard. Let's take action. Let's be loud and proud. I'm the prospect. I'm the future educator of tomorrow. Thanks for everyone being out here. Like I said, I'm the prospect. They want students to come here to Hartnell, right? Let's keep talented professors here and not go away and have to go somewhere else. If you guys weren't good educators, the students would have said something, but you guys are talented. You guys are gifted. Hartnell professors are some of the best out here in Monterey County. Let it go.
Classified staff, stand with faculty. Our faculty at Hartnell are the best. CSEA is with you guys. We'll be with you every step of the way. Fight on, get a contract. We're here with you.
Some of the poverty levels that exist and really provide a promise and an opportunity. So workforce is really critical. I worked for the city of Soledad for over 20 years, and I know obviously the union, the pensions, the wage salaries increases, that's really critical to our workforce. And we know we have really high inflation numbers. People are still hurting after the pandemic. The high cost of, rents and housing, food. So this is an opportunity for us. We say our essential workforce, we're critical. This is an opportunity to really show that our workforce is critical. They are the backbone of our economy at the state level, at the county level, at the city level, at the college level. So it's important to be able to come to the table and negotiate in a fair manner our future. And many times we say students first, or we say our workers are essential. We need to make sure that we treat them as essential.
What do you make of the pay raises for management?
I haven't even talked to her about that.
No.
Because our issues include smaller class sizes so that we can better connect with our students. Our issues include taking that state funding for healthcare for part-timers and bringing it to Hartnell College.
Well, while I have you, Meryl, on camera, meeting with people out here right now and talking with people, what is the feeling in terms of our college teachers at Hartnell College being underpaid?
So what the information was provided is they're ranked 62 out of 72 in the state, and so that's at the lower end of the total. And I think it's important, especially given the demographics of our community and the students that Hartnell serves. It's really critical that we have those quality teachers that are here that are able to ensure that our students are going to be prosperous and successful, and that if they want to transfer, they'll be able to transfer.
Good afternoon. My name is Lawrence Yee. I started working at Hartnell in 1997 as a full-time chemistry instructor and retired earlier this year. How was my Hartnell experience? I love my job, but how much did my job Hartnell love me? In 1997, Hartnell advertised itself as your best choice, past, present, and future, and together we can make a difference. Now it's students first. In 97, Hartnell faculty worked without a contract. Hartnell faculty were among the lowest paid faculty in California. Now, Hartnell faculty have been working without a contract since July 1st, 2022. Hartnell faculty are still among the lowest paid faculty in California. In 97, I rented a one-bedroom apartment in Soledad for $625 per month. My first year Hartnell salary is $34,276. 22% of my salary went for housing. Now, a one-bedroom apartment in Soledad rents for $2,100 a month. A Hartnell instructor would need to earn $84,000 per year to afford to live in a one-bedroom apartment in Soledad, spending no more than 30% of their income on housing as recommended by financial planners. In 97, the average home price in Soledad was $175,000. Mortgage, taxes, and insurance were $1,233 per month with a 20% down payment. Spending no more than 30% of income on housing, I would need to earn $49,300, which is 44% more than my first year salary. Now, the current average home price is $690,000. Mortgage, taxes, and insurance are $4,479 per month with a 20% down payment. A Hartnell instructor would need to earn $179,000 per year to afford an average priced home in Salinas, spending no more than 30% of income on housing. If students come first, Hartnell needs fair compensation to attract and retain faculty and staff who can afford to live in this area. Hartnell needs to love our faculty to help them help our students be successful. Does my job, Hartnell, love me? Since 2001, Hartnell faculty and the district can negotiate 7 collective bargaining agreements. None of the 7 contracts were negotiated before the previous contract expired. Hartnell faculty spent over 9 years, or over 40% of the last 23 years, working without a contract. Students first, many articles on why employees need to come before customers have been published in business journals. For example, Forbes wrote in April 2022, rolling out the red carpet for your employees before your customers. Think about how you want employees to treat customers, then flip it around. Are we treating our own people that way? Why would you want to do that? Because what's happening on the inside of an organization, how employees are treated, is going to be felt on the outside by the customer. Working without a contract and being compensated less than our peers at other colleges lead to a stressful work environment, low morale, an unsatisfied workforce, and thoughts about changing jobs. Here are a few examples. Early in my Hartnell career, several senior Hartnell faculty advised me and other young instructors to seek a job elsewhere that would love me more than Hartnell. In 2006, Hartnell faculty salaries were dead last, 72 out of 72 in California. Students first, faculty last. Several young instructors who wanted to spend their entire teaching careers at Hartnell found teaching jobs elsewhere that loved them more than Hartnell. Faculty wanted to instruct for 5 days before settling on a contract. Recently, one of our STEM instructors left Hartnell for a much better paying teaching position elsewhere. If students come first, Hartnell needs to fairly compensate and retain faculty and staff to be able to afford to live in this area with a fair contract. Hartnell needs to love our faculty and help them help our students be successful. I love my job, but my job really did not love me. Working without a contract for many years Exerting time and energy trying to bargain a fair contract and trying to reform this area does not make Hartnell an attractive place to work. You can make Hartnell a great place to work by loving your faculty, to help them help our students be successful. Thank you.
And then for the next couple of speakers, didn't want to cut off Lawrence, but we'll keep them to 3 minutes.
Hello, and thank you for allowing my public comment. My name is Lisa Storm, and I'm a faculty member in Administration of Justice and Business. I've been teaching at Hartnell College since 1992, and I worked with some of you when I was Academic Senate President from 2018 to 2020. Tonight, I'd like to talk about priorities, because prioritization is essential to budgeting and bargaining. Since we put students first at Hartnell College, I'll start with student priorities. If you ask students to prioritize what they value most at Hartnell College, they would probably put faculty first. Students work with faculty every single day that they attend Hartnell College. They rely on faculty to educate them, counsel them, and mentor them. Some of our students are training to be faculty, like the students in our Teacher Pathway program. Do you, the board, support student priorities? I've heard you say students first. You approve students first as one of our value statements. But actions speak louder than words, and tonight the board's actions indicate that you prioritize the administration over faculty. If you disagree, then why did you commission an expensive analysis to determine if Hartnell administration is being paid competitively, but you would not do the same for your faculty? And why did you agendize in today's board packet a salary schedule for administrators that includes significant pay increases, up to 41%, when you have not offered faculty the COLA approved by our governor, 8.23%? Did you know that Hartnell faculty are almost the lowest paid regionally? We're ranked 13th out of 14 colleges and at the bottom of the pay scale statewide. Hartnell faculty chose this career because we want to help students succeed. We could earn more elsewhere. We have master's degrees, Juris Doctorates, and PhDs. We stay because our students need us. Please, when setting priorities, don't forget that teachers are the lifeblood of every educational institution. That is a quote from Dr. Llewellyn. Please tonight, do not approve the administrator's salary schedule unless you are ready, willing, and able to approve a similar schedule for your faculty. Thank you again for allowing my public comment.
In looking at research on good faith negotiations, I came across a 2015 article published in the Journal of Conflict Resolution, which I gladly will share with you after tonight's meeting. In this article, researchers Eddie Glasman of Columbia Law School, Neda Barak-Horan of Harvard Law School, and Ilan Yaniv of the Hebrew University of Jerusalem examined the behavior of what they consider to be the greatest threat to good faith negotiations, which they refer to as false negotiators. The researchers identified a few identifying traits to test whether or not you have false negotiators in the midst. Specifically, false negotiators tend to respond slowly, dragging out the negotiation process. They sometimes ramble about unrelated issues and are more likely to mention constraints that they claim limit their ability to do a deal. So I would just ask, not only for our side, for the faculty union side, but of course for the board, to just really ask yourself, have I stepped into that realm of being a false negotiator? We, from a timeline perspective, are over a year out on a contract. And with that in mind, I would also very much like to encourage you, besides getting to the table and getting a negotiating settlement done with the faculty for the contract that's already been expired, that you would be looking ahead, because any contract that we're going to have coming up is already going to expire in less than 2 years. So I would encourage you, get things closed and settled with the staff, and immediately get us back to the table so we can really put forward this notion that we talk about, we give lip service to excellence. Well, why can't we do that in the negotiating process between the board and the faculty union? My understanding is that there has not been an on-time contract in years. I think that we are all at a place that we can change that, and the best way to really move forward and to start getting to a place to where we have a better negotiation environment without the specter of possible false negotiating is to get business taken care of now. Thank you.
Ken Wagman, W-A-G-M-A-N.
Thank you.
I've had to spell it many times. I spoke to you a few months ago, and I'm interesting to discover this center, and I hope I don't have to discover any more. I teach at Gavilan Community College, where we already have a settled contract. Starting in January, our part-timers are going to get full benefits. And if the state doesn't come through with that amount of money, we have clauses in our contract to allow us to reopen negotiations so that the district is not out a lot of money for many years. And we've been able to settle over the years. We have less of a reserve than you do, and we've still been able to settle. Faculty, student learning conditions are faculty working conditions. So I just want to invite you to settle for your amazing faculty. One of the benefits that we get at Gavilan, and this is sad, is we have had a number of great faculty who started here and couldn't afford it, and they went up the road to Gilroy. Keep them here, please, to support your students. Thanks.
My name is Cynthia Ainsworth, and I'm the Student Services Librarian. Every day, I have to justify my worth and value as a librarian to this institution. I'm happy to demonstrate my value, but I shouldn't have to prove it. I was told by administrators to be creative and think outside the box. I now realize that's admin talk for do more without support, resources, or pay. Faculty are not asking for something unreasonable. You just heard from someone from Gavilan. A fair contract is not unreasonable. And now you have the audacity, after a year of negotiations with HCFA, to consider giving administrators a substantial raise, but not the very people who interact, teach, support, and uplift our students every day. Where is your moral compass?
Thank you very much for listening to my comments. My name is Steve Edinger. I teach music. And I'm concerned about some of you know that my big bugaboo is communication. I like to make sure that people are communicating in honest and transparent ways. And I'm concerned about the effect that a prolonged labor dispute might have on relationships at this college. Not only relationships with administration, but relationships with our students. Some of you may know that I live down the road in King City. If I had a flat tire, I'm going to wager that every single person here would stop to try and help me. And you'd probably say, Steve, you stupid idiot, you didn't do AAA, you're not a member of AAA, your cell phone doesn't work. And I said, yeah, you're right. And then you would help me with whatever you could. Maybe you couldn't stop because you were busy, but maybe you would call AAA for me, or maybe you would call someone else that could help. It seems to be with a lot of the negotiated items that we have, such as part-time health care for part-time instructors. Many of the proposals that the unit has put forth have not been agreed with any kind of counter proposals. And that worries me, because to me that's like somebody just driving across 101 when they see I've got a flat tire. And not doing anything to address an issue that I think should be an issue of everyone's concern. So, and then these people that drive across, 101 seeing me, we have to work with those people every day. They're administrators. we have to try and do all the wonderful things that we do with our students with them. And I'm wondering what it will do to us as an institution, how we're going to be able to get along, how we're going to be able to function, how we're going to be able to do all of the wonderful things that I've heard so much about and I've seen so much here at this campus. So I really love Hartnell, and I love all the things, all the great activities that we have for students, all the great learning opportunities. And I'm concerned that if this situation persists, where there are no counter proposals that are being put forward, we're creating an atmosphere where there's not a whole lot of back and forth, there's not a lot of communication going on, and that it's going to adversely affect our students. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Hello, thank you for taking the time to listen to me. My name is Jennifer Morehouse, and I teach in the math faculty, math department. I am math faculty, and I am the vice president of the academic senate. And I would just like to say, I think that it's a good thing that the board did commission a study to compare our administrators and management to our peer schools, and you found that the compensation was not commensurate with our peers, that our administrators were well below, but you haven't done the same thing for faculty. And our union has done that study. We have compared to the same schools that you compared to with the administrators, and we found similarly that faculty are well below our peer schools in compensation. And so while I don't want to hold up the process for administrators and for management, I think they deserve a raise as well, but giving them a raise while leaving faculty at the bottom of the pay scale is incredibly disrespectful. And I think, as Steve said, it will hurt the college, our students, and faculty. Thank you.
Daniel Peterson.
Hi, I'm Dan. You probably know me. I taught at Hartnell for 30 years, retired 2 years ago. I'm now a Hartnell student, taking piano. Shout out to our music program. And I'm a community member and will be till I die. Thank you all first for your service to the college, and that gratitude extends to every single person in this room. I think it's important to remember that we are all in something together here. I just heard that management contracts have been renegotiated, and I want to say that I don't begrudge anyone their raises. The work that we do collectively is desperately important. The college matters to the community. All of this stuff is great. In my decades at Hartnell, there is a pattern, though, where I think we make a preventable mistake time and again when it's time for negotiations. I feel like time and again, negotiations need to be carried out in a way that's open and honest and forthcoming and fair-minded, and they become unnecessarily adversarial. And I think that does lasting damage after the point where the contract is signed. And I wish that were a toxic pattern we could break. And I think we are there again. We want to act in good faith. We want to reward people for their hard work. And this time, it's interesting. We don't want to create a culture of distrust and disingenuousness, but I think from time to time we have that. One of the other things, just as a sidebar, oftentimes we think that the most toxic people are representative samples of either side, and they're not, right? The loudest voice is not always the representative voice, okay? I say that about some previous negotiators. Anyway, so we've got to create a good culture. It's a delicate thing. The money is there. We got a substantial cola. It's not a diet cola or a decaffeinated cola. The state's given lots of money. The money seems to be there. Other people have been compensated. Other groups have settled. Lovely as Soledad is this time of year, we didn't all want to come out and shout in the wind today. We're here because it's time to settle a thing. And that culture of equity and fairness and openness and fair dealing that we try to create with our students, we should maintain that among ourselves. And sometimes we slip up, and now might be a good moment to retrench and fix some things. The contract is going to be settled, and sooner is better than later. Whatever is holding up the process, and whoever is holding up the process, we need to ask them why. Who benefits from this? I think a culture of goodwill and interdependent kindness and consideration is a delicate, delicate thing. Hard to create, easy to destroy, and now is a moment when we can do something, I think, very, very positive. Anyway, thank you for listening.
Less than 2 weeks ago, the president stood in front of the entire institution and told us we serve with no need for reward. But it turns out there are wonderful rewards, just not for faculty. Plenty of rewards to be had, but not for us. Somewhere along the line, we apparently did something that garnered this reaction. And I spent time trying to think about what that was. Because as Dan has pointed out, the growing sense is one of hostility. I don't feel comfortable at Hartnell. I do not feel that the people who are supposed to look out for my best interests are looking out for me. I don't think that when I read an agenda that says equitable pay everywhere, but the highest raises are going to the people who are already making the most money, makes sense. That is not equity. And if we are committed to equity, it's important to note that the responsibility for making things equitable lies with the people who have the most power. That's Equity 101. And I watch systems of power at play all the time. And I watch them at play here. And I know how these things play out. And it's discouraging. And what have we asked for? We got 1% that was supposed to be supplemented with a SERS increase that did not happen because the board told us that there wasn't going to be money, and we took the hit. And now we're offered full COLA from the state, and we're not getting it offered from you. We have shown that we are willing to take less money when it's needed. And now when it's there, suddenly it's not for us, but for other people. And what do we ask for? Basic human rights for our part-time faculty. Healthcare is a human right. What do we ask for? Reduction in class sizes, which has been closely tied to student success. Equity is our goal. Show us. Because what this agenda item shows me is that I do not work at a Hartnell College, where I am a part of one group working towards something. It shows me that there is administration and there is the rest of us. And we have to take whatever we're given. And as Dan pointed out, what happens after that? When the dust settles, the negotiation is over, and we've been forced to take less money for whatever makes people happy. And you want the same from us? Dedication for initiatives that are coming? DEI emphasis? More work for less pay? All I'm asking for the board is to think about what the long game is and what the impacts on the equity goals and the overall communication plan on campus is going to be. Because right now, if this gets approved, you will be setting the institution back years.
I'm reading this on behalf of Maya Watson, who is an English professor who couldn't be here tonight because she's teaching. You may have heard enrollments are up a lot this semester. Members of the board, Though I am not able to attend the meeting today, I hope you will leave here with a stronger understanding of the importance of valuing our Hartnell faculty. One of the best things the board can do to honor the college, our students, and our community is to honor faculty. A college that signals its respect for faculty through competitive and sustainable salaries and benefits signals its respect for the community that it serves. A college that seeks to compensate faculty at the lowest possible level disrespects the whole system, in particular the students in the community. Requiring faculty to bear up under these conditions communicates to the community at large, and in particular to our students, this message: you do not need or deserve top quality instruction. I have taught at Hartnell, Maya, for more than a decade because I do believe that our students and community deserve the best. And I know that the only way to ensure that they continue to receive the best for the college is to provide faculty with a contract that is fair and stands up to comparison with other similar career colleges in the region. Respectfully, Maya Watson. Thank you.
Good evening, board. My name is I'm a resident in Soledad. I have 2 students attending Hartnell College currently. One of them is right now in the main campus. But I also, want to share my story and my husband's story. I'm a product of this school, and I came back to school as an adult, and I was taken in, and I was educated by these wonderful people back here. I recognize some of their faces, but more importantly, I want to share my husband's story. He came here 1986, and he attended Hartnell College, starting at the lowest level of ESL classes, all the way until he transferred to San Jose State, where he obtained his bachelor's and his master's. And he came back. He came back to this institution, and he taught for 10 years. And he no longer does that because it wasn't financially viable for him to stay teaching here. Besides that, he loved his job that he did here. He taught at the high school here. He taught at the main campus. And it's a shame. It's a shame because that is a passion of his. Now, what is he doing? He's still in education in the private sector, where he earned a lot more than what this college could offer him. He was working 3 adjunct faculty jobs. And 2 of the colleges, Mission College and San Jose City colleges, paid much better wages than Hartnell did. But he stayed here because he believed. He believed in his students. He believed in his community. And I can see now, that not much has changed. The same struggles still persist. And this right here behind us, that's your biggest asset of this institution. That's, if you truly put students first, you put them along with them first. Because, this institution has produced great people. Great people like my husband, who now sits in the city council of this town alongside another product of this institution, Mayor Ana Velasquez. So I really am for it as a mother. I am for it as a resident of this, city, and as a future student, to please treat our staff the way they deserve. Thank you.
Good evening. I had a speech which I had timed to do exactly 3 minutes, unlike my last appearance. But I've discovered that several of my colleagues have already made direct and salient points. On the slip that I turned in under my topic, management strategies. So, I've got a lot of stuff some of these people have already said before. You may not know about this about me. This is the 3rd career for me. 3 years ago was the first year in which I had been teaching business and management classes longer than I'd actually done it I am the victim, and I use that word correctly, I'm the victim of 2 previous strikes in different places where I worked. One in a manufacturing setting and the other in an academic setting. As a result of that, and further, what turned out to be a non-strike area, I've had the opportunity to have been professionally trained in both in industrial and in the area of academic areas of negotiations. When I put there management strategies, it is not clear to me what the strategy of this board is. And by that I mean each one individually, in this sense. We keep hearing how important faculty is to the institution. And someone mentioned earlier, if you survey the students, what is the thing that they attach to when they're here at Hartnell? And that is their faculty. So as a management strategy, it would seem to me that your area of priority really would be, how am I going to connect with my faculty who are the people who actually connect it? This isn't meant to be denigrating in anybody. I'm sure there are a lot of people who are on the administration side over here who do terrific jobs doing whatever it is administrators do when they administrate stuff. But the rubber hits the road when we are in the classroom with the students, period. And in my professional management development class, an area that we talk about is how do we get from the pyramid and what happens at the top and what happens at the bottom. My opinion is that in terms of a management strategy, having dragged out these negotiations for as long as appears to have been done, this is a poor strategy because it reflects to the general public who only see the headlines and don't read the rest of the story that the 2 sides are loggerhead for some reason. Whereas our perspective is, we've come to the table, we've made what we consider to be at least good opening, good faith opening discussions, because we're not negotiating. And my observation is that we're not getting negotiating back to us as well. In terms of a management strategy, I have to say, this sounds like a loser. And a loser in the sense that no one will win. No one will win. And the biggest no one who wins are the students. Because the pressure that gets put on the institution as a whole begins to squeeze the inside parts. And I've seen that both in an industrial setting and an academic setting. And I would like to encourage you, and we've had several people who mentioned specific aspects of that, so I won't repeat those. I encourage you, when you are planning the 3 days, you've got 3 days, 3 8's 24, that's 24 hours, people. That's enough to settle almost any kind of contract. If both sides come in and they've got everything that they need with them. Now I know that there's a structure, and the negotiating team has to then go back to the president has to come to the board has to do all those things, and then it comes out and it comes down, and there's stuff there that can't be happened. But I am really pleading with you, when you are looking at your schedules, instead of on the dates, the 13th, the 20th, and the 27th, every single person, in my view, has an ethical responsibility to make sure that his or her calendars are completely clear on the 14th, the 21st, and the 28th. Your team goes in, you give them instructions, they come in, they get their instructions, you spend 8 hours in the room, you work it out left and right, and then the next day, you meet. Do it. You just do it. Say, okay, what's the report? Okay, we get 7 days to work out a counter-proposal. But a counter-proposal is not a short.
I'm going to keep you there. Your 3 minutes, I'm helping you out. You're at your 3 minutes.
Correct.
I want to be respectful to everybody, making sure that they also got their 3 minutes. But we'll let you wrap up.
No, that's why I originally, in respect to the courtesy that you showed me the last time that I was here, that's why I timed mine at 3 minutes so that I wouldn't do that. but other people made my points. So there is a path forward, and it really ain't that difficult for both sides. Thank you for your time.
I'm Christopher Zepeda. I'm the head cross-country track and field coach at Ohlone College. I just kind of want to start off with a little bit of great news. We started our season on Friday in Fresno at Woodward Park. This is the host of the state preview meet. So many of the schools from Northern California and some Southern California schools went over to Fresno and ran on the course. I have a young lady. Her name's Andrea Villegas. She's a graduate of North Monterey County High School. And if you're familiar with Hartnell, North County is kind of that enigma. Those kids can go to Cabrillo, they can go to Gavilan. Oftentimes they'll even go to DC, and they'll go right past Hartnell. So I've been very fortunate to have been able to work with her since she graduated. She was the overall winner of the state preview meet. That's the first time in Hartnell College history. She's put herself, thank you. She's put herself on a very, very short list of women at the two-year community college level in California that could be the overall state champion. And that has never happened in Hartnell College history. What's unique about Andrea is she is a non-resident student. She spent all summer working 50 hours a week picking strawberries. The little that I did see of her was here and there, a Saturday here, a Monday there, but it was, Coach, I gotta go to work, can I leave right now? But her communication with me has improved in those 3 years. It has put her in a situation to achieve such a feat. I remember watching her go across the finish line, and I look back in the video. If you follow our social media, you can tell how overjoyed she was. But the other side of that is I'm walking along the course, and I have Ray Winter, the head coach of President Pacific. He comes up and asks me about her, and I tell him her situation. I go, she can't get any federal financial aid. She did our WELI program over the summertime, so it'll help a little bit. But she worked in the strawberry fields so she can afford to go to college at Hartnell. So she can put gas in her car and drive from Castroville every single day. And he's like, well, you know, we're a sanctuary university. I'd like to help her. I'll pay for everything. That's the kind of unique opportunities Hartnell provides. For many of our kids, it's not easy, but behind those stories are also the coaches. And I'm not talking about myself, I'm talking about our assistant coaches. To bring a little bit of education to the board. In our off seasons, our coaches are asked to volunteer. I don't think there's anybody on campus that is asked to volunteer at any point in the year for the entire semester, unless it's a committee, but these are employees just like anybody else. And in many cases, they're making very close to minimum wage. And so what I'd like the board to consider is that we put out special assignments that are paying employees throughout the entire year, is to strongly consider making sure our assistant coaches are paid through the entire year, because they make stories like Andrea Villegas possible. Thanks.
And that will conclude this evening's portion of public comments. We will now move on to student engagement, and we learned late this evening that our student had a little bit of issue come up and was unable to present tonight, so we are going to reschedule that to a future meeting, which takes us to our next agenda item, stakeholder reports.
Hi, my name is Mark Cabrillo. I'm Vice President, and I'm filling in for Alina. She wasn't able to make it. But I'm here to give her a report. She wrote in that we have vacancies. We have filled 2 of those vacancies in the ASHC. We have 1 more senator at large and 1 senator for South County. We still need a director of ICC, a director of programs and services, and 1 more senator at large for evenings, weekends, and online. We're working on recruiting students, and we hope to have a full team very soon. For events, we had our Week of Welcome. ACC took part in our annual Week of Welcome this past week, and it went extremely well. On Monday, we tabled and assisted students in getting them to classes. Tuesday, we had a fun event outside in which we served students fresh fruit cups and held watermelon eating contests with a prize of Hartnell merch and swag items. Wednesday we assisted, actually I'm gonna go back. Tuesday we had students arrive at Hartnell College to cut fruit. We made over 230 fruit cups, and we had them show up at 7 a.m. in the morning to prep for that. So, you know, for ACC, it was a pretty good accomplishment working collaboratively, getting people to wake up at 7 in the morning. Other than that, Wednesday we assisted basic needs in their resource fair. Lastly, Thursday we held a club rush and helped raise student interest in participating in and starting clubs. Throughout the month of September, we have had, we will have a 9/11 Memorial, Hispanic Heritage Month celebration, Suicide Prevention Month, and Campus Safety Awareness Month. ACC officers will participate in a self-love workshop for the Independent Living Program youth, where we will discuss our experiences at Hartnell and student government. The workshop will take place September 12th. We are also working alongside the Guardian Scholars / Next Up program to give students a presentation regarding student government and a role in the Hartnell community. This presentation is also set for September 13th. Thank you.
So our academic senate has not met yet. We have our first meeting scheduled for a week from today, and we have quite a lot on our agenda and on our plate for the upcoming semester. We have a lot of opportunities, and I think you have heard tonight about the commitment and the engagement and the caring in this community. All of my colleagues behind me, my faculty colleagues, my classified professional colleagues, staff, and management colleagues. This is a family. Hartnell is a family. And we come together and we do great work. And we're on the cusp of something really important. Probably the first time in maybe 20 years that I have felt like we're really on the cusp of making some important changes. And the Academic Senate stands ready as part of the family to work on those changes. We have the initiatives that are going to come from the evaluations done by the SWIM Digital Group. We have the coaching and the accountability and the assistance and support from the coaches from Achieving the Dream. We have a new president with plans, with dreams, with a vision. We have faculty and classified professional staff and managers who are hearing some of the upcoming changes and thinking, oh my gosh, finally, these problems that we've been hearing about and experiencing for so long can be remedied. It's exciting. It's also terrifying to me because of the contract that's sitting out there unsettled. We have part-time faculty who serve on our academic senate, who serve on our committees, who are ready and willing and able to do that work. But if they don't feel respected, if our college says no to part-time benefits when their surrounding colleges have not, they might not come back. They might not have the extra time to do that voluntary service on committees on the academic senate. I might be leading the academic senate, and they will not be following. The same with our full-time faculty. They're here tonight talking to you because of an item on the, well, for lots of reasons. We had this activity planned well before today's agenda went out. But part of the anger that you're hearing and the frustration and the dismay that you're hearing is because we have been talking about being at the median. Our negotiating team has been talking about being at the median since the beginning of negotiations. On your board packet tonight, it says that management salary restructuring was to move those salaries to the median. We've been trying to do that, and we've been stopped. Again, why? If people are still asking why when we have the opportunity to take on some of these challenges from Achieving the Dream and SWIM Digital, and faculty are still asking why have we not been important enough to be considered that our talent is worth attracting and retaining? right? Top faculty talent is worth attracting and retaining. And if they're still asking that question of why, again, I might be leading the academic senate, but who will be following me? Thank you.
Members of the board, thank you. I just kind of wanted to say, didn't really have prepared remarks, but just to give a few updates. One thing that's really interesting is, I think kind of this year the tone has been, we're trying to kind of work together with a lot of our new folks, a lot of our new initiatives. And I think one of the biggest things is we need everybody at this college to be able to focus. And so I think kind of in the spirit of one of our initiatives, our Caring Campus, that our staff are part of, I hope you're kind of hearing this to light and kind of, open and welcoming message to say, hey, let's clear all this stuff that's kind of just been sitting around. Let's prioritize that so everybody's on their game to be able to do the work that we really are doing here for our students. Some things that we're kind of doing, we're starting off with our shared governance. We're working on developing that and then working with our president and my fellow president on that. There's just a lot of things going on. We're just getting our classified staff, we're in week, what is it, 3 now, that everything's going, getting things prepared, rebuilding a lot of our infrastructure and systems. So I definitely agree with President Locke, and just we're kind of in a spot that we're trying to connect the dots, and let's send the right message, and let's everyone get together and let's kind of get more dialogue, more action. So thanks.
Hello, I'm Nancy Scherbinger, and I am the Hartnell College Faculty Association Union President. So I'm here in front of you again, and I want to echo, we're excited. We're excited by our leadership team here at Hartnell and their vision and the fact that we've brought in resources and coaches and mentors to take the college to the next level. We've been asking for this. So we're excited. And we're excited to be back with our students. We had a welcome tent. Now, thankfully, like at the convocation, we also had a table, so we saw almost everybody, so we kind of kept our welcome tent going all week, really because students that came in to campus from a different direction than the main welcome tent would end up at our welcome tent saying, where's building J, where's building S? And it was fun connecting with the students. We spent more time welcoming them than each other, but that's okay. That was joy. So we do positive things. But there's just so much to say. I mean, retired faculty coming in here showed that basically tenured faculty, I remember when I got my tenure track position, my faculty, a faculty mentor when I was in my program said, are you ready to marry them? Because tenure often lasts longer than marriages. Because you stay at the college for your career. We lost 2 valuable faculty this summer that didn't choose to stay here for their career. They were mid-career faculty with great reputations, but they made more elsewhere, or they can't afford to live in Salinas with Salinas salaries, and we don't have, solid remote work options. So there's issues. I heard the word toxic pattern. These delays can cause harm. We're working really hard. I like the people here. So we're working here really hard to maintain relationships and be respectful about our comments and about what we want. And we want to get on with the good work, but we're not going to do it for the money you've authorized. I'm just saying, we're not going to do it, and we're not going to do it without health care. We're just not going to do it without health care. The state has put aside $200 million. Only $20 million of that was used this past year. How, it gets said, well, there's no guarantee this initiative will say. How many initiatives have we done that haven't stayed? Faculty? A few? A few? So, you know, we've done the work for initiatives that are on hold and things go on to, you know, the new things, and we're willing to jump in. You need to be willing to jump into this. You need to be willing to jump into this. This is important. I'm sorry, I'm a nurse. I see the toxic effects of lack of health care. I see people coming to us too late. I see the death and destruction it causes. So, not getting on this bandwagon when our community colleges with less reserves than we do have, it's irresponsible. It's unethical. And you need to get on it. We're willing to be like Gavilan and have an out clause if the state goes back on it. We've said as much. But the money's there and people need health care now. Well over 60 people came out today to lend their support for our rally. The longer you wait, the stronger we become. Thank you.
Motion passes. Next, we have agenda item 13F. Consider approval of new updated administrator and supervisor salary schedule and job classes.
I'd like to move that we postpone this action item to either the next September board meeting or the first one in October.
What, second that?
There's a motion by trustee Gonzalez, seconded by trustee Montemayor. Why? Discussion.
At this time, I feel that we need to get back on track with the negotiations that we have on par with our faculty. And I'm not saying that we're not going to consider this action item. We will consider it. I just feel that it would be more appropriate if we begin our negotiations in good faith with our teachers so that we can get that ball rolling. And I'm certain that our administrators and supervisors are on the same page in terms of wanting to have a resolution for the faculty negotiations.
I've got a question for Michael or Dianna. Were salary schedule studies done for all employees?
They were done for L39, CSEA, and the managers.
And why is that?
Good evening, Dianna Rose, Vice President of Human Resources. So with Local 39 and CSEA, it specifically stated in their collective bargaining agreement that we engage in a classification and compensation study. The group, before Michael and I started, had already contracted with RSG. So because we already had that contract with the Reward Strategy Group, we included the unrepresented groups as well. So they did RSG did a compensation as well as a classification study. With HCFA, we actually have been engaging in salary surveys, taking a look at, for example, the Central 14. We just not, and some others, the Bay 10 statewide, we just have not contracted with RSG to do those studies.
Dianna, on that question, on that point that you just made, those salary studies, they've been happening for, based on your research, for how long? How many years have we been doing that? Has that been routinely done through, I'm going to assume, the bargaining process? Is it a part of the bargaining process, or is this done more administratively?
I don't know what the history's been here, but in my last 2 colleges, that's exactly what we've done. So for example, when I was at City College of San Francisco, the faculty relied on what they called the Bay 10, right? So they were that's what they consider the comparable salaries or comparable districts. So when we started here, I asked, so is there an equivalent to the Bay 10? What do you all use here? And so one of the recommendations was Central Valley 14. And those are arguably comparable school districts, and those specific districts are named in I believe it's West Valley's collective bargaining agreement for their faculty. So that's some of the discussion that we've been engaged in, is defining competitive, right? And so, and where in that spectrum do we want to be? Do we want to be at the top? For example, at my last college, there was a goal to be in the top 3rd quartile. And so here, what we were striving for was the median, and so that's what you see across the board with the other units. And so we're still going back and forth, and those get adjusted as other colleges have been settling. But I think it's very traditional to take a look at other salaries. I think some of the discussion is defining what's competitive.
And we're working on that. just so
Yes.
that's clear.
And do you have an idea when that timing will be, when that will be completed?
Well, I hope by the end of September, because I'm actually going to be on medical leave in October. And so, part of the reason too, I know it feels like it's been a really long time, especially for the faculty who are not at the table, but there's been a lot of exchange of information. The entire collective bargaining agreement was reopened, the entire contract. Plus, I think 4 leftover reopeners from the last contract. So it's a very aggressive and ambitious endeavor to try to get it done when the contract had already expired. So we've been working very diligently. There were no negotiations while the faculty were off schedule, and so before we concluded in May, we had already set aside when are we going to meet. So those 3 dates have been selected: September 13th, 20th, and 27th, all day. So I think there's a commitment from both parties to try to wrap this up.
One other question. Thank you, that was perfect, that's exactly what I needed. Yeah, I have a concern too about this item, and it's not about deserving at all. I think, we all support the decision that President Gutierrez has put before us, but for me, it's a timing issue. I really feel like the timing isn't right. I think we need to force, in a nice way, force both parties to come together and get this thing done. And I'm glad we have the 3 dates, 8 hours, if it takes 10 or 12, whatever it takes, get it done. And I think as a board, we can commit to those other days, getting together and making it happen so we don't delay it as a board, calling special meetings, whatever we have to do. Because it's very important that we get this finished and that we move forward in a positive manner. So I support your first and second, definitely. For me, it's timing.
I'll just say that I'm in the same boat, and thank you for telling me that the last time that our teams met for negotiation was May. I can understand the frustration. It's been many months, but it sounds like there was an agreement that that's how we were going to proceed. So I just want to make sure that for the public and for the record, that we make that very clear, that there was an agreement that that's how we were going to, and I'm seeing a no, but I'm going to defer to what you're saying publicly, that in fact, that's what was done. But I do think it's a timing issue as well. So I'll be voting no on the, well, wait, what was the motion?
The motion was to
postpone. So I'm voting on the postponement, not on this. Okay, got it.
So just to be very clear, because I don't want to misrepresent the false negotiator, or let alone a loser. So when we last met in May, we talked about, are we going to meet during the summer? Because we stood ready. But at the time, the response from HCFA was, well, they're available if we have something new to present. And so at this point, we're waiting for a response back from HCFA. And so they've made a significant information request. And so we're working on that and hope to get that to HCFA this week. So both parties can hit the ground running on the 13th.
So what's the vote? Because I see.
Yeah, I'm going to ask for clarification regarding
It's
the
to
motion.
table the item to the next meeting,
Postpone.
September or October.
Postpone.
Postpone it.
It's not table?
Well, semantics, can you add
The table does mean different. You can bring it back.
Okay, postpone works for me too, that doesn't matter.
What was your motion? What was your motion?
I move to
What did you say?
postpone the action item F to either the next date, the next board meeting in September or the very first one in October.
So the next board meeting in September will be, I think we'll only have completed one session by then.
And it's a board
So then it
development
would be the first one in October?
Which is October, either 2nd or 3rd, yes.
Third.
I mean, hopefully we get a lot done in the first, but if this is tabled only until the next board meeting in September, that really only gives us, I think, one full session with HCFA.
And then again, 3 full days, 13, 20.
13th, 20th, and 27th.
I just want to go on the record, I'm not trying to hold anything up. I don't see how postponing this makes any difference. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I understand we need to get together, and I don't feel like we've been bargaining in bad faith. I just think the management brought this, put it on the agenda because they felt like they needed it for whatever schedule they're on and other items, and so I'm going to support it.
I'd like to comment that we can make a special meeting, after we meet the first time, we'll make a special meeting, to see how much time we have.
Well, of course, I'll defer to board president and my president, so yes, thank you.
If there are no other further comments or questions or discussion, if trustees can go ahead and enter the vote.
And the vote is for.
I don't understand the vote.
Yes, because it's worded different
Yeah.
here than what.
Well, it's what's up here, but I had to do a second one.
Read the motion, not the title.
So the motion is to, I want to make sure what we're voting on. The motion is to have this agenda item actionized for our first meeting in October. I believe that's what I understood.
First or second, October, first. Thank you.
Correct.
Yes.
Or the next September meeting.
Because September meeting is a professional development meeting.
And because they will only at once, and they have meetings. So you can't see it up here, but I have postponed this action item to the first October meeting. That's the motion.
Okay.
And that's what's gonna come up, once you guys vote.
So we will have this appear as an action item then on the October 6th?
Yeah, it's the third.
October 3rd. And we'll take action at that time.